Chapter 6 of Somme Battle Stories by Alec John Dawson. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 6, The Devil's Wood. No, don't know anything about Pozieres. We're from Davia Wood, all three of us. Oh, I don't know. There may have been worse places, you know. But it was pretty hot shop when we were there. Not exactly a health resort, you know, anyhow. If Pozieres was worse, it must have been quite nasty. They were all three walking cases, seated at that moment in the companion of the Red Cross ship just berthed. Their bandages were clean, and I have no doubt their wounds were also clean. But for the rest, all that was visible of those three subalterns was blank. Well, it had too much of Davia Wood about it to be clean. One feels that some of these tattered, blood and soil-stained uniforms should be preserved precisely as they are when their wearers step ashore at Southampton. No doubt some will be. Proud mothers and sisters should see to it. Davia Wood, for example, one example among many, will remain a tremendous memory for a good many of our heroes of all ranks, and, too, a marked point in history. I did get one cigarette, or half of it, as a matter of fact, in Devil's Wood, said the fair-haired subaltern, whose bloody tunic had been holed over the right shoulder-blade, as well as slashed to ribbons in front. But that was a fluke. I was in quite a deep hole then. You remember that place, just below the left drive. Mostly the only way to get a moment's comfort in Devil's Wood was to get out of it, dead or alive. And there were times when you felt it didn't matter much which. "Oh, I say, come off," protested the dark boy, who after a course of Turkish baths might have posed for an artist specializing in cherubic choristers. "It was never so bad as all that, sir. It's rather good to have something to chew in a place like that. Seems to mitigate the stinks, too. I had milk tablets. Jolly good things." "It did niff a bit, didn't it?" said number 3. "Always used to think dead Boches were the most satisfactory kind of Huns. Never thought one could see too many. But there were rather too many at Delville. Must say I didn't like 'em, especially at night when a fellow was crawling about. Flies, too. There were more flies than one really wanted in Delville. Oh, damn, I hate those flies. One was always thinking about what they'd lit on last." "Really? Did it strike you that way? I can't say I had much time for thinking about the beggars, but I noticed they were a bit thick. Flies like blood, you know." "Do they? Well, Davia Wood's the place for 'em, then. Plenty blood there. My aunt! I saw Boches there bled white. The ground all around 'em soaked. Our own, too, by God. That northern strip was a hot shop. How many machine guns do you reckon the Boche had there? Like a typewriting shop, wasn't it? But it was rather jolly when Fatty got our little Lewis up in front there, wasn't it? Made the rifles seem a bit slow. There's a good deal of solid comfort in a Lewis, you know, if you can find a decent shell hole handy. I liked the red spit of it in the night. Pretty comforting that, when you heard the Boches creeping. That was one of the things about the wood. You never could move in it without making some row." "Row? But did you ever hear anything like the row our heavies made in that last hurricane burst? I was trying to explain to my sergeant just what we were going to do, when the curtain lifted, and 'pon my word, though I yelled in his ear, he couldn't hear me." "Fine that, wasn't it? The scramble when it lifted. God, it was a great fight, that last bit. Our chaps had their teeth set then, all right. One of my section commanders was wounded in 3 places before we started. But he went like an absolute madman in that scramble up the little ridge. Never saw anything like it in my life. His face was covered with blood, he'd got no coat, and his shirt had been all torn away in putting field dressings on him. Nobody could keep up with him. I tried hard, but he got ahead of me, and he downed 2 big Boches in that shallow trench as though they'd been thistles, just smothered them, he did. And then he got it fairly in the neck. Bomb burst right at his feet. Laid out 3 other chaps at the same time. He was a man, that chap. I got a bit of his own back for him. It was a Boche sergeant shied that bomb at , but he'll never throw another. I beg pardon. No, I hadn't got a rifle then, but I had my little truncheon, though, and it was good enough. Oh, I don't think he was the surrendering kind. Anyway, he didn't get the chance. Was one of my own section commanders, you see, and one of the best. Yes, I made quite sure about that particular Boche. He wasn't a bad sort. Put up a good enough fight. Aye, a queer business. You know, there were some real brave things done at the end of that show. They can't give DCMs to everyone, you know, but honestly, all those men earned it, just as well as any of the chaps who get it. Oh, of course they did. So do thousands every day in the push. Thousands of 'em every day are doing bigger, finer things than lots of things men got the V.C. for in the old days. The old days are, of course, the days before 14 to these young veterans, God bless 'em. Yes, but look here. What I was thinking of was the lot of things that nobody at all ever knows about, not even a man's own mates. Now, look here, you know we had to fall back a bit once from that shallow trench at the top. No, I mean after we'd been in it and thought we'd got it. Yes, well, we fell back for, must have been 10 minutes, the time I mean, and a lot of the Boches came up along those communicating saps, and it almost looked once as though we wouldn't get it back again. Never looked any other way, I thought. Can't for the life of me see how the devil we ever did get it. Damn it, it was obviously impossible to get it, because of those machine guns. I know. Well, I got my dose in the trench, you know. When I saw you all falling back, I tried like the devil to get out. I was in quite a deep bit, alongside that traverse with the big tree on it, where was killed. I nearly broke blood vessels trying to get out, but it was no go. My shoulder was giving me hell, and the right arm wouldn't work at all. Well, you know, I'd rather have been sent west altogether. I always did feel I'd rather be anything than be taken by the Boches. I had my revolver, of course, but I'm not much good with my left hand. 10 to 1 they'd have got me alive. I could just see over the edge, and I was cursing my luck, when I saw a chap deliberately stop, turn round, and look at me, and sort of weigh up his chances. He was falling back with the rest of our lot, you know. Just then a Boche machine gun opened, as it seemed, right alongside me. It was really just round the big traverse. That settles it, I thought. I'm done now. And it did settle it, too. That chap I'd seen, who'd evidently decided once that it wasn't good enough, he altered his mind when the typewriter began. Down on his hands and knees he went, and scuttled all the way back to where I was, like a lizard. He fairly gasped at me, no breath, you know. "On my back, sir," says he. And somehow he hauled me out and slung me over his back. I fell off 3 separate times while he was scrambling down the slope with me, and 3 separate times he stopped, in all that fire, and fixed me up again. And then I felt him crumple up under me, and at the same time I got this, through the left arm. I rolled clear and looked at his face. I'll never forget his face, but he had no coat or cap, and I didn't know his battalion. His forehead was laid open and bleeding fast. I dragged him behind a stump and laid him with his head on my haversack. Then I scrambled out to find a stretcher-bearer for him. But I got caught up in our advance then. You know what it is. And I went on, thinking I'd find my man after. Glad I went in a way, because I had 3 bombs a wounded corporal gave me, and it was easy lobbing them with my left at close quarters. By gad, I lobbed 'em all right. Nearly lobbed myself to Kingdom Come, too. But those bombs did their job all right, before we cleared the trench. It was hours after, before I could get a man to help me look for that good chap who dragged me out, and we never found him, never a sign of him. But to do what he did, thinking it out, too, in all that hell, why, many a chap's got the V.C. for no more than that, I think. Yes, and there were dozens of things like that at Delville alone. Same all along the front. Right through the push. I believe it is, 'pon my word. I'm dead sure of it. Oh, I tell you, as the men say, the army of to day's all right. London train? Oh, yes, that's me, orderly. Come on, boys. I beg your pardon. Good bye, sir." Chapter 7